everybody. It is a beautiful Tuesday night. There's so much to do and to talk about. Let's make sure that Winston Churchill is here and wearing his glasses. Okay, so in case you're wondering why I'm wearing these shades, it's because you can see my money sign on my glasses. Check it out. Ah! That's how it works. I've actually got some really cool things to say about this app that I'm using, but we'll save that for later. First of all, today was kind of a crazy day. We're still reeling from the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. The two guards who were on duty when Jeffrey Epstein had allegedly committed suicide, those guards are let go. I think even the ward, like the head person who was in charge of his unit or whatever it's called, his cell, I think that guy was also let go. So, but they still haven't released autopsy results as far as I know. And I'm kind of skeptical, just based on the way it's been going until now. Kind of skeptical about the results. Hey, Joe. Hey, Deplorable. So, hey, Diacritical. All right, it's all the cool people. Rosemary. All the cool people, by the way, are on YouTube. Like, every time I meet someone cool, it's always on YouTube. And the more I do these videos, by the way, the more I've been getting people, not just random people, but really, really accomplished YouTubers or podcasters or people who are already very big media personalities, who've already been very successful in what they're doing, who are coming to me, little me, and asking how they can fix their podcast or they can fix their YouTube channels. And I think that's insane. I mean, I came in here with zero podcasting experience, and you can tell this is still very amateur. It's still, we're just started my 5th month of Pardes Live. And, but I think it's exciting because I have managed, I don't know how. I wasn't intending to figure it out, but I have stumbled across some really great secrets about YouTube while being in the process of trying to figure it out. And so that's really, it feels really cool. It feels really cool to be in that place. And I'm feeling I've never felt so optimistic about anything that's in this industry. I've never felt so optimistic. This is just something that I'm very optimistic about. I've actually, today I started talking to the developers of the app that I'm using. It's still very small. Not a lot of people know about it yet. It's still very new, but there's going to be a lot more development, and I'm very excited to potentially be involved. And we're also involved with a bunch of other personalities who are either, just starting or thinking of starting new channels, thinking of starting maybe a new show. And anyway, I don't want to give you too much information, so that's it. Okay, so Creasy Bear is asking about volume. Let's see. Are you guys having trouble hearing? Okay, I can never tell if you guys can hear me or not, so always let me know. Hey, Paul. So, yeah, today has been just crazy. My place that I live has just been infested with a bunch of bugs. I posted about a katydid earlier a couple days ago. I was too scared to even move because there was a huge bug, huge green flying thing. It looks like a locust or something. And it was there sitting on my pillow. And I literally slept on the couch because I was so freaked out. Like, I really get freaked out from bugs. And then today I saw the most freakish, massive cockroach that I ever saw. It's like the size of the palm of my hand. It's massive. And it was walking around that doorway. You see that doorway over there? It was walking on that doorway. And it's like, I don't even see bugs in here. Have I ever been like, oh no, there's a bug? Not that I can remember. I don't know if you can remember, but I don't remember having bugs. Okay. So anyway, it's just been crazy. I've been just freaking out about it, and I don't know if I could sleep at night, but maybe if I just totally wrap myself up in a thick blanket tonight and then like zip it, like wrap myself up in like a ton of wrappings and then like inside my blanket and like inside my comforter cover and then zip it up. Maybe then I will fall asleep tonight. These are so big. These cockroaches are so big. I don't even know how much like poison is gonna put these ones down. They're like little walking animals. They're like little walking, like little birds. They're like little birds walking around. They're huge. Diacritical One says, if it makes you feel better, everyone swallows a few spiders every year while they sleep. I heard that when I was little, and I refused to believe it. That cannot be true. Because then it would be really bad, because I always sleep with my mouth open, and that's disgusting. I probably, if that's the case, I probably have digested like 1 million spiders at this point. Yeah, so Washington, D.C. this time of year, you know, it's nice to have warmth. I like it when it's warm. Most people don't, but I like it when it's warm. But it's not nice to have bugs because I'm so afraid of bugs. And anyone who's, you know, spent time with me in person will know that I freak out even if there's like a tiny little bug. All right. Okay. LA Child says big bugs are sensitive to sound, so play music. That's a great idea. I love playing music. I love listening to music. I love playing music. I love making music with my mouth. Dove is asking if I had roaches in my dorm in Jerusalem. We had all kinds of bugs in my dorm in Jerusalem, but we didn't have bugs that were this big. Like, they were a lot smaller, the ones that, you know. And I actually don't even remember cockroaches, because we had all sorts of bugs, mostly flying bugs, but they weren't this big. DC's bugs are very, very, very big. Jerusalem didn't have such big bugs as far as I experienced. They were little flying bugs. And a lot of little flies. Okay, so anyway, we have a few very, very, very important things to talk about. And it's not Jeffrey Epstein. It's not Chris Cuomo. It's not Hong Kong and the clashes in the Hong Kong airport. It is Miley Cyrus. Okay. Miley Cyrus decided that she is suddenly she and her husband, Liam Hemsworth, got a divorce. I always thought that, this is my personal theory, I always thought that Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth were not really married and they were just doing this for publicity, because I wouldn't put it past Miley, okay? I always thought that it was like a publicity thing. Then, the entire time during their relationship, there was like, Miley is talking about, well, I'm not a traditional wife, and like, I'm not really, you know, I'm not really like a wife, and, you know, it's not cool to actually be a wife. So like, at first it's cool because you're Liam Hemsworth's wife, right? But then actually you're like, oh, well, it's not cool to be a wife, because screw that. So then she comes out as pansexual. And so, when does she come out as pansexual? Miley comes out pansexual. Let's see. She comes out as pansexual 3 years ago. Okay? So she came out as... Oh, she came out as pansexual before her wedding. Okay. She came out as pansexual before she got married. She got married last year. She came out as pansexual 3 years ago. Okay? So, then she comes out as pansexual, and then she gets married to Liam Hemsworth, but she's still pansexual, and she came out to her parents, and then so like I would believe all this stuff, right? Like, I would believe it, because a lot of women have the same, go through the same things, right? A lot of women are dealing with, a lot of people, men, women, are dealing with these changes in their sexual preferences or whatever, but with Miley, I really feel like there's something totally fake about this person. She came out 3 years ago, and now she's coming out again. Why would you come out twice? If you already came out once in 2016, why would you come out again once you get a divorce from Liam Hemsworth? Maybe it's because all your fans are mad at you for getting a divorce from Liam, which is, I get it. I get that you want to avoid that, your fans being mad at you for breaking up with the most coveted man in Hollywood. Okay. Not that I think so, honestly. This is just popular opinion. So she wants to diffuse the anger, right? And then so she goes and makes out with Caitlyn Carter, okay? This friend that they have, who also divorced her husband. All right. So as you can see, this is like the product of very humid weather, just all frizzy. You see this? This is DC weather for you. Okay, so she's like, she gets a divorce, and she goes out to Europe or wherever to hang out with Caitlyn Carter, who had also just gotten a divorce from her husband, and there are pictures taken of them lying down on the same, pool bench next to each other, on top of each other, making out. It looks so hot. It looks so sexy, and everyone's drooling over it like, oh my God, this is so hot. And then she posts on her Instagram, so she poses, and they make it look so good, like a photo op, and then she posts on her Instagram, let's see what she posts on her Instagram. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's something like, I'm coming out again. Miley Cyrus is coming out again. She is coming out now, Blackheart. So Miley Cyrus is does this whole grand gesture of, I broke up with Liam Hemsworth, and now I'm coming out, and she announces it on her Instagram page. She poses for a bunch of these tomboy shots of her in a cap going she worked out, so her abs are she holds her abs, so you see her six pack. She wears these baggy shorts, totally check it out. I'm totally masculine right here. I'm a tomboy. And then, you know, she has all those pictures of her making out with her friend. And this would all be cool, except this is totally fake. And this is totally a PR stunt. And this person is the fakest person I ever saw in my life. Okay? She came out 3 years ago. Okay? I bet that was a PR stunt too. Okay? So she comes out 3 years ago. Then she comes out again. But first of all, people who are she's like trying too hard. People who are actually gay, people who have already come out as gay years ago and they're still gay, have already gotten over the part of like, let me show the world how gay I am, okay? She is posting, she's like posting pictures of herself in baggy shorts, making like these weird faces and cap to say like, check out this pose, you know what I mean? It just seems very fake, and it seems artificial, and it seems like not the sort of thing that an actual gay person would do. You know what I mean? Like it's like you coming out and saying, it's like if I were to come out here and say, guys, I'm Persian, and then like I come here and wrap myself up in like a Persian rug and wear like these Persian like jingly things on my head and like draw like a unibrow on my face and be like, guys, I'm Persian. It's like, you know what? I'm still Persian even without all these stuff, and no one does that. I don't know. So I just think that Miley Cyrus is a fake. And I actually, even though I'm actually not so into Liam Hemsworth, like I think he seems a lot more, my glasses. I think he seems a lot more real than she does. He says that he wishes her well. I wish her nothing but happiness. They got married in December, so it hasn't even been a year. She says, we recently separated. I wish her nothing but health and happiness going forward. He said the split is a private matter. He will not be making any comments to any journalists or media outlets. And then he says, any reported quotes attributed to me are false. Peace and love. Twitmo Denizen is reminding me how many times I say the word like. OMG, like I'm totally like gonna stop trying to say that. I'm gonna try like really hard to just like stop saying like. It's like really, 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 really like the hardest like thing ever. But if you go on my YouTube page, I actually have a video of like a compilation. I said like again, oh my gosh. I have a video compilation of me saying like about 100 times in the same phone conversation. I think it was between 2 phone conversations with my sister that I collected. Just a bunch of clips of me saying like. And it is crazy. Yeah, I say like a million times, and my mom would be horrified if she was watching these and seeing how much I say like. But you know what? Like this is who I am. Like, you know, take it or leave it, like, you know? I even started saying like in my text messages, by the way. When I text someone, because like is just it's part of my vocabulary. When I text you, I'm not going to be like, "Hey, this is totes the most awesome thing ever." I'm going to say, "This is totes like the most awesome thing like ever." I'm actually going to say that. And you think that I'm being joking or being sarcastic. Just ask anybody who's had a text conversation with me. I actually have recently started using like in my text messages. And it is a disease. It's spreading all over. It's spreading to my brain. It's been spreading to my tweets. Have you noticed it in my tweets? It's been spreading to my tweets. It's just getting all over. It's getting all over my house like a cockroach. And this is crazy. Can't. So people are asking me about what happened in the women's locker room. Okay, so I tweeted that I was in the women's locker room at the pool I was swimming at. I was in the women's locker room, specifically in the shower room. And in the shower room where I am, I usually go at a time when, it's always like this actually. It's always like this. They have a lot of kids, a lot of kids go there to these big pools across, the city and whatever. A lot of kids will go and they'll swim they'll have swimming lessons, or they'll be part of swim teams, like youth swim teams. And so when I go in the women's shower room, there's always a lot of kids. Not because, oh no, they're letting little boys in the women's locker room. It's because little boys are meant to stay with their moms in the shower rooms. And that's because they're there with their moms. If their moms can't go with them to the men's room, so what, you're going to send your little kid, your 5 or 6 year old little boy, to go by himself in the men's shower room while you go in the women's shower room, and then expect him to figure it out himself with all the other strangers, naked men? No. Little boys are meant to stay with their moms in the women's shower room. That's a good thing. Someone is asking, ever notice the women's locker room always has that one lady with the downward droopy floppers? Oh my gosh, yes. Yes! Story of my entire upbringing in swimming pools, in public swimming pools. So, anyway, so basically what happened was there's always kids, and they're always really funny. Sometimes they'll say the funniest things. They're always having conversations either with each other or with their moms, and some of them are very little. Some of them are just learn how to walk, and they're already swimming and learning how to swim and being part of these groups and whatever. So sometimes they'll say the funniest things. They'll ask their mom, what's this? Why, just the most bizarre questions ever. And the mom is standing there answering every question. You're just dude, the kid just asked why the sun doesn't drop on planet Earth. That's the dumbest question ever. Why would you answer someone who asks you, why does the sun stay in the sky? Why doesn't it just drop here on planet Earth? Why would you answer someone like that? Anyway, the moms will stand there and answer every single dumb question these little shitheads ask. And so I shower and listen to that, which is actually very interesting. And so I was showering, and there were a bunch of kids, a bunch of little boys in a corner, and while I was showering, I turn around, because it's not really, totally divided. You can see other people while they're showering. So I turn around, totally naked, and I see these little boys looking. Woo! They're 5 or 6 or something. They're little. And then I tweeted about it, these little creeper booger faces are staring at me in the shower. Should I go run after them, yelling and naked? And people were like, ooh. Why are there boys in the women's locker room? What's going on? Sexual harassment. What are they doing? And all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was not being serious. I mean, I was being serious that there were little boys there looking and staring and pointing while I was showering. But I wasn't serious about it being creepy or that I wanted to run after them naked. It really, I mean, it's expected. In the women's shower room, if you're a woman and you've showered in a women's shower room at a big pool, you are used to having a bunch of little kids staring at your boobies the entire time that you're showering. You just get used to it because they're everywhere and they're curious and they've only seen their mommies, so they're just fascinated by the sight of other women. It's really funny. But it's not like sexual harassment. But it is proof that little boys never grow up. They're always shitheads. And even when they grew up, they're little creeper shitheads that like to stare at girls' boobs their entire time and they go, ooh. Anyway, so, you know, once creep, always a creep. Anyway, final topic, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is so popular because Taylor Swift sent money to Fan to help pay for tuition and rent. Whoa! So generous. Okay, and it's all over the news. It's like trending. It's been trending since yesterday, actually. Taylor Swift sends a fan thousands of dollars to pay for college tuition debt. First of all, $4,000. She sent a fan $4,000. Taylor Swift is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. She sent $4,000 to a fan to pay for college tuition, and it's making headlines. It's not only making headlines, it's trending. WTF, okay? Taylor Swift can pay for someone's entire college tuition. For a lot of people, it's well over $100,000. She pays $4,000 to pay for college tuition debt, which isn't going to cover anybody's college tuition. Sorry, it's not covering anybody's tuition. Nobody has college tuition that amounts to $4,000. Most people have at least tens of thousands of dollars and even hundreds of thousands of dollars college debt. So $4,000, paying for a fan, $4,000, what you would pay for, like, to buy yourself a handbag, that's nothing. And the fact that we are all drooling over it, and this is trending news, and everybody is talking about how, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift paid for a fan's tuition. This is embarrassing. Maybe the reason it's trending is because it became news in the first place, and people were like, oh my gosh, how is this news? And everyone's talking about how this is like the most not news piece of news ever. Like how it's actually embarrassing. Whoa! Taylor Swift is helping out one of her biggest fans in a major way. The 29-year-old superstar just sent a fan named Aisha over $4,000 to pay off her college tuition debt. Aisha had posted on her Tumblr that she was struggling to pay for tuition for the semester, and it turns out that Taylor saw the post. OMG! Aisha, she explained that both of her parents work minimum wage jobs and her mom struggles from chronic kidney disease. The family loans were not enough to take care of Aisha's college tuition and rent for the upcoming semester. I posted about struggling with paying tuition. 2 hours later, I get this in my email. I have no words and I can't stop crying. I don't have words, I don't have words, I don't have words, I can't stop crying. Okay, so, oh my gosh. Now in this same article on justjared.com, drooling over the fact that Taylor Swift, a centimillionaire, which means she's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, okay, sent $4,000 to help pay for this person's college tuition, which is so tiny. $4,000. Look, I'm not saying $4,000 is nothing. I'm just saying when it comes to college debt, $4,000 is nothing when it comes to college debt. So she paid $4,000 to pay college debt for this person whose parents are working minimum wage jobs and their mom's dying. Okay. And then the article continues. This is not the first time Taylor has helped a struggling fan. Back in 2015, Taylor sent another fan almost $2,000 to pay for her college loans. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Why are people drooling over the fact that Taylor Swift sent a fan almost $2,000 to pay for her college loans? Almost $2,000? Almost $2,000. This is embarrassing that Taylor Swift would pay someone less than $2,000 and tell people about it. It's embarrassing that she would like send a fan less than $2,000 and like let anybody know that she did that because it's such a like tiny amount of money. Really, I'm embarrassed. Like, I'm embarrassed that our country is just so like, I know people who give like 20% of all their earnings and sometimes more to help people, and they don't even tell anybody. I mean, I know because I know everything. But they don't tell anybody else. But I mean, people do it. Whatever. This is crazy. Okay. So that's crazy. Another question I have is, why is a girl who's allegedly both of her parents are working minimum wage jobs and she and her mom is suffering from a chronic kidney disease, this person can't afford for her college tuition and rent and whatever, why is someone who is like struggling this much and her mom is like having this chronic kidney disease and both parents minimum wage jobs, why is this person paying first of all, why does this person need to have an expensive college education? There are many places where you can get a college education for a lot cheaper. If you can't afford it, don't do it. College education is not food. And even if it was food, there are plenty of places to go to school for really cheap. I'm sorry to say this. And you know what? I actually sympathize with you. But, okay, so say that school is important, which is actually important. It's important which school you go to. Okay, so say you really, 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 really wanted to go to that school and you were willing to sacrifice everything to go to this school. Why do you need, if both of your parents are working minimum wage jobs, why are you going all out with tuition and all that stuff? Why don't you go to school, go to a local college, and live in your parents' house? That's what any sensible person would do. That's what I did, and my parents aren't working minimum wage jobs. That's what I did. I stayed in my parents' home and I went to school in LA so that I don't have to pay for rent and extra stuff. I don't have to pay rent. I don't have to pay for food because my mom's cooking. So I go to school, come home, eat my mom's food, live in my parents' house. And yeah, I get it. People are like, no, but I want to move out. Well, guess what? When your parents are working minimum wage jobs and you claim to be like suffering because you're living in poverty, in your words, because you claim that you need this so much, why do you need the luxury of like, oh my god, I need to live in my own place. I need to go to another place, go to like the most expensive school ever, be with my friends, and live at home in my own place and pay rent in an expensive city. Why do you need that? You don't need that. Like, people are so dumb. I mean, the things that when the way that I watch people spend, it makes me cringe. People who don't have a lot of money in this country, everything is so messed up. Like, I think the way that things are going in our culture is so messed up. First of all, we're trained to blow our money on things. We're trained to blow our money in the now and not save for later and not invest for later. This is what our schools are training us to do. This is what our culture is training us to do. Guess who wants you to do this? The people at the top. Because by staying stagnant, by spending as much as you make, and staying in the same job your entire life, you're giving those people at the top power. Okay, let me explain. Instead, first of all, here's another thing. I noticed that, like, I've been saving up for the past couple years. I've been saving up, and I don't make an insane amount of money. But the amount that I've saved up is like a huge part of my salary. I don't make a lot of money, but like, it's a big part of my salary. And I managed to save up more than a lot of people who have more to spare. Now I'm just bragging. And I wasn't always like this. But I just think it's really possible to, if you really wanted to. And what I noticed when I came to DC is that people spend so quickly. Like, there's no sense of saving your money. Maybe it's because I grew up in a Jewish Persian family where people are just like, saving is everything. And you have, if you have like $100,000 in the bank for food, you're still gonna go and like, you know, try and negotiate and get like the smallest price for your apples. But so maybe it's because of the culture I grew up in, but it really shocks me sometimes to see how bad people in the United States who are around our age are at saving. Like, people will just, you know, they'll get like $4,000 a month, right, salary, and then they'll spend all of it. They'll spend all of it, and some people, not only will they spend all of it, some people will go over debt on their credit card and wait until their next paycheck comes so they can pay that off, so that they can go over with their credit card and then wait till the next paycheck comes off. So they're basically in debt the entire time. And then the rest of the money is spent on drinks. And so, it's crazy, but I also I think that our schools want us to be that way. The way that we're being educated, the way our culture is, they want us to be that way. The people at the top want us to be that way. Have you noticed that your schools are constantly preparing you on like how to write a nice resume, how to like, you know, get a good, climb the corporate ladder. Figure out how to use your 401k to you know, get the maximum value out of it. Why is our education trying so hard to keep us stagnant? Why do they want us to stay stagnant? Why do they want us to stay in corporate jobs our entire life instead of building something that can make us big and rich? Why do they want us to keep paying rent? This is another thing. Smart people buy and rent out. Smart people buy their homes and rent them out. I'm being a hypocrite because I rent. But can you imagine the amount of rent that you've paid over the span of your entire life? Can you imagine if you had collected that and saved it up for a house? What a beautiful house you would have. And for the rest of your life, you could be making money from it. If it's a good investment, if you picked a good house, whatever, you can be making money from it. You'd be collecting rent, whatever, Airbnb, and then once you sell it, can sell it at a higher rate. Anyway, I just think that the way that our country, our generation is with money is kind of insane. And you don't need, if you're poor, you don't need to go to fancy school and live in your own place. If you claim to be poor and your parents are living minimum wage, you don't need to go to a fancy school and live in your own place and whatever. And wait for Taylor Swift to pay your tuition, which she won't. Taylor Swift, God, this is embarrassing. You don't need to wait for Taylor Swift to give you $4,000. In Canada. Gosh. This woman is in Canada. She says, here's a note that she says, oh my gosh. And not only that, she sends it from her business, Taylor Nation LLC. So not only that, this tax deductible, she sends it from her business. It's like a business expense. Okay? This is not costing Taylor anything. And even from her tax deductible part of her money, it's costing her like a tiny amount. Okay, so someone is saying it's an endless cycle of debt if you don't understand your financial status. Burt Reynolds says, rule of thumb, passive income equals boring income. Mimo Bug says, they don't teach entrepreneurship. Oliver says, if you have billions in your bank, then it makes sense to start businesses and invest. But if you have a few thousand or tens of thousands, you can't do much. I mean, that's right now the way we are, because the system right now is very much against small businesses. Like, it's really hard to be a hustler right now, I think, because of all the different kinds of regulations that are out there. You can't sell this, you have to be careful with that, you're going to get taxed for this, so be careful that it doesn't get mixed in with your personal finances, and you can't, I told you about the Airbnb side hustle that I did. It made so much money, but then I ran into all the legal stuff and all the bureaucratic side of it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, if I knew this, I would have never done it, because it's the bureaucratic side to everything that is just totally ruining, that scares people away from wanting to start their own businesses. There's just so many regulations. It's scary. And that's why, because it's scary, but like, all I ever wanted was I always wanted two goals. I always wanted to fall in love, and I also always wanted to like be my own boss. I wanted to have my own business or businesses and whatever. I wanted to be self-employed. And so no matter what happens, I'm going to do whatever I can to figure all the bureaucracy out. But it's still a shame. I'm in business school right now. Like even the concentration, like they have like my school they have like this concentration that is entrepreneurship, because they've got like different concentrations, things you could study. It's right. So they have one called entrepreneurship, and you're like, oh great, finally a concentration that will prepare me to be an entrepreneur. No, it's not preparing you to be an entrepreneur. It's preparing you for like entrepreneurial management in your company, in the company that you're working for. How to be entrepreneurial and work in a team in the company that you're working for. How to be an entrepreneur for the person that you're working for. It's not how to be an entrepreneur on your own and be able to start your own business and do your own thing. It's how to further the cause of somebody else by using your entrepreneurial talents, but not for yourself, for some other person whose company you're building up. Which honestly, I think it's great to build up somebody else's company. In fact, the way that you learn and you become rich yourself is by building other people's companies. You're not going to get rich by sitting there and building yourself up and expecting money to grow. You become rich off helping other people. That's how you become rich. You do this for a client, you help this person, you work for this person for X amount of years, sometimes 10 years, sometimes people do it for even longer. It's good to work for other people. But the way that our system is right now is that you work for one person your entire life, and not only that, they have complete control of your time, your production. These places that I worked for, a lot of the media, I worked at a bunch of media outlets. Daily Wire was great. Daily Wire, I was in LA for that, and I was a student, so I didn't really have a lot of restrictions at Daily Wire. But then when I came to DC, I worked at a bunch of media outlets here, and I realized that they work within like a corporate system. They work as though, like just like any of the other corporate offices here in DC, and the rules are so bizarre. They make you sign away like the rights to your first of all, you have to like sign all these like NDAs, non-disclosure, non-disparaging. You can't make negative comments about the place you worked for, apparently, ever. So you sign away your rights to talking about the place you worked at. Then you sign away your rights. It's like this. It's called a non-compete form. Okay. There are all sorts of non-compete forms, but the ones that I came across basically expected you to sign away rights to anything that you've produced on your own. Anything that you've written, anything that you produced within that industry, and even anything that you produced in code or anything that is related to the arts or coding or computer stuff. Even though I was just a writer. And you have to change your Twitter handle and make it theirs. You have to tweet according to what they want. If you say a tweet that they don't like, you have to delete it. They tell you what you can do. And so they're basically in control of every aspect of your life. And good night, Dove. They're in control of every aspect of your life. And then even if you leave, even if you're just like, I quit, I'm not going to take this any longer. And of course you can't write for anybody else or do anything for anybody else because they basically own you. And then if you're like, I quit, I'm not going to be owned by somebody else, and you leave, even after that, for 6 to 12 months, that non-compete still holds where like you still can't do anything in that industry for like 6 to 12 months. That means if you leave them, you have to be jobless and penniless, and you can't produce anything for 6 to 12 months, okay? Do people actually follow that? No, because if they did, they would be broke, in the streets, and depressed because they can't produce any art or anything on their own, okay? So people don't actually follow that. But do you understand how messed up that is? What a messed up system this is? These corporate employers, I'm sorry to say this, if you're one of these people, you don't have to do this, first of all, because this isn't helping you, because none of your employees are actually following the non-compete agreements. None of them are actually following these stupid non-competes. None of them are following the non-disparaging agreements. You think anyone is following non-disparaging agreements? You think your employees are not talking about you behind your back and not saying what a shitty boss you are because you made them sign this shitty document that signs away all their rights to everything while you're paying them garbage? You think that they're not going to talk about that? You think that in the 6 to 12 months after they leave your company, they're not going to build themselves up in some way? They're not going to write their own articles or their own things, or try and build themselves up? You think that they're going to wait for 6 to 12 months and sit in a dark room doing nothing, working for nobody, being depressed, living off of the savings from, if they saved, because people in this culture don't save, the savings from this tiny salary you gave them while you were working for them? You think that's what people are going to do? Well, you're stupid. So you might as well not have all those garbage papers for people to sign, not have all those garbage rules, and maybe your employees would like you a little bit more, and you won't even have to worry about them disparaging you. Okay? Alright. So, yeah, that's a problem that I have with, like, all these corporate, the corporate stuff. And by the way, I've worked at basically mostly conservative media outlets, and I actually worked at one liberal media outlet, and they were actually great. They were like my favorite media outlet to work for. One of my favorite. I worked at a lot, but they were great. It was called Mediaite. Mediaite was awesome. I loved Mediaite. Even though Mediaite paid me the least, but I still loved them. I really loved working for Mediaite. So, I don't even know if I was supposed to say that. Never mind. But, see, I give you guys all the information. The thing that I noticed about conservative media outlets is that people are always complaining, like, oh, like, what, the wage gap isn't real. People on the right are always like, oh, well, the wage gap isn't real. These feminazis, they're just being triggered. They're just making a big deal out of it. They're making up things and whatever. So, I mean, I get where that's coming from, because the third wave feminism has gone bonkers, and they're just, they're advocating for the most ridiculous things, and free tampons, like, come on. So anyway, it makes sense, a lot of what they're saying about feminism and the wage gap and whatever, but it's gotten to a point in right-wing media outlets, and a lot of the ones that I've come across or I've had friends in or whatever, it's come to a point where people are like, not only will they talk about how, like, the wage gap is a myth and whatever. If you're a woman in those offices or in those media outlets, you're intimidated to come forward and ask for a higher wage. You're intimidated to say if you have any problems. You're intimidated to, and if you do, they're just gonna be like, what? And also, they tend to be more skeptical of women. Look, don't take my word for it. Don't believe anything that I say. Go and have a heart-to-heart conversation with a conservative woman who works at one of these outlets and see what she thinks. Ask her how much she gets paid. Ask her how much her coworkers get paid. Ask her how many hours she spends at that place. Ask her how many years she has spent at that place. Ask her how many years and how many hours her male coworkers have spent at that place. Look, I'm not a rah-rah third-wave feminist. I just care about what's practical right now. What's happening right now. Okay? None of these women are going forward and telling their bosses, like, hey, can you not pay me this garbage salary that you're paying my male coworker who literally just joined our team 3 times as much as you're paying me? And you're already giving him all these, bonuses and whatever. They won't go up to, they won't go and say anything. And you know why? Because they're too busy tweeting on behalf of their bosses, on behalf of their male bosses. They're too busy tweeting about how the wage gap is a myth, and they're too busy tweeting about how, like, well, women shouldn't be working anyway. Women should be in the house, in the kitchen, with their kids, while they're at this job. Like, the whole thing, to me, I didn't enjoy it. I'm just gonna say that. I didn't enjoy it. And I actually don't think that sort of idea is making women be less stressed and be there more for their children. It just makes women submissive in the workplace. It doesn't mean those women are going to be there more for their children. It just means that they're going to work harder in the workplace and be paid less money because they're intimidated. Someone is asking, are they not asking for raises, the women? You know what? People say, like, oh, the women, they're not asking for raises. You know what? I was saying that too. But I've been talking to many women, and I've actually seen it happen. Women do ask for raises in these companies. They do ask for raises. They won't give you a raise. Some women I've seen not getting paid at all, not even a penny. Okay? Even though they were promised a wage. In a lot of these media outlets. Okay? Because they're like, oh, you're an intern or whatever, and we haven't transferred you to, like, being full-time, being like a real employee or whatever. So I've seen it happen, and I remember for myself, when I went to complain about something, I don't even remember what it was. It was some administrative thing. I went to complain about it to one of, like, the higher-ups, and his response was, are you, like, a feminist now? Why are you being triggered like a snowflake? Why are you being so triggered? And I'm just like, I'm not being triggered. I'm not trying to be like a feminist or whatever. I'm just saying, I think I was saying, like, it's not, I think I was complaining about how, like, why don't I get to do this or whatever. But, like, you can't, because they're constantly going to use that argument. You're being a feminist. You're being a snowflake. And so they're always going to use that against you. So, if you're a woman in those companies, you just don't want to do that. You don't want to be the crazy cat feminist lady. You don't want to do that. You'd rather just be quiet, like I did. You'd rather just be quiet, leave quietly, go and start your own YouTube channel, go and save up money, go and invest in a house, go and rent out the rooms, go and become a millionaire, and then just have your own company and just sit here and live stream and say whatever you want and talk trash about whoever you want and screw what those guys think. Felix says, any Yanks in the chat want to give me a job so I can escape the UK? Does anyone want to give a job to Felix so Felix can escape the UK? Felix, you should send me an email. If you are a writer, or not, just send me an email with your resume. I have my email address in my, by the way, like, people have sent me their resumes before and I haven't been super helpful, like, but sometimes I am. Sometimes I'll forward your resume. So just, if you want, you can send it to me just in case. And, you know, like, every so often I'll have friends who'll be like, hey, like, I'm looking to hire this thing or this person in this city or that city. And, like, in the moment, I'm not thinking about it. I forget. But if like it happens around the same time, then I'll remember. So anyway, send me an email. You'll see my email address in my description. Okay. You can also, you know, I have another email address. The place that I'm working for now, PR Group, which is amazing, best PR firm ever. So I could also I'll post that email address too. But, wow, Felix. We can have Felix here in DC. That would be cool. Okay, someone is saying, can anyone loan me money and pay back? Need gas, money for a job, kids' lunches, huge hospital bill. Took up entire paycheck. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that. So, MAGA Shimofo. Oops. MAGA Shimofo is the name. Anyone wants to help out MAGA Shimofo? See it in the comments. Good luck. I hope it works out. Mike says, I sent you an email, but it bounced back. At least you left your DMs open. Oh, yeah. My DMs are open. So, if you can't reach me via email, I will read the DMs. I can't promise that I'm going to answer you back, but I will read them. And just because you don't see, like, the accepted thing, it doesn't mean that I didn't read it. It just means that I haven't, like, clicked accept. Okay. Someone is saying 4 bands in a row. Okay, so I think I know what you mean. If you're commenting on this live stream and your comment is like a little bit not on par with YouTube standards, they will actually ban your comment. Like, they will censor your comment. So this one, it won't even appear here. So just be careful. If you want your comment to be seen, don't use the F word, don't use SHIT, don't say Holocaust. Whoops, I said it. I might get demonetized now. Just don't say anything. Good night, Diacritical. Just make up words and say the words. Say made up words. Okay. All right. Someone is saying, are you profitable on YouTube yet? Yeah, but not enough to do this full time. Just a tiny bit, because we just started. You know, we just started getting monetized. So, you know, once I switch, because I'm full time at the PR firm right now. So once I switch back to freelance, and then I will need a source of income. So I will be doing this full time. I'll be fundraising. I'll be asking you guys for money. And already some of you have been helping me out, which is really cool. But this is just the beginning. So like, you know, it's not gonna be just pennies the whole time. It's gonna get bigger. This channel's gonna get bigger, and we're gonna have, it won't just be these sound reducers. We're gonna have more exciting things, and it's already gotten a little more exciting than it was before. And Joe says, stop getting your vids demonetized, Pardes. I'm trying not to say anything too bad. You know, it's also, it seems so arbitrary. Between the videos that are monetized or demonetized, it's like you can't even predict it. It's crazy. You can't predict what they're gonna demonetize or whatever. I was never able to do it so far, but I think I'm gonna try and figure it out more. I spend so much time checking out my YouTube analytics. It's almost like it's like fun, and I think that I could probably build up anyone's YouTube channel at this point. And I've had people asking me. It has been such a cool learning experience, and I could, you know, definitely redo something like this. Okay. Andrew says, hey, Pardes, question, how would one get into writing for places, even freelance writing? So one thing that's great is if you're in college, you can do it through your college paper, or you can just keep reaching out to different, you could do through a college paper. So I was really lucky. I mean, I had like a very unique situation. But most places, if you reach out to them and you say, hey, I want to write for you guys, they'll ask for a sample. And like, I used to be an editor. I was a contributors editor at the Washington Examiner's college brand. It's called Red Alert. And so when people would reach out and say they wanted to write for us, we were actually really easy. But we always wanted a writing sample, and preferably if it was like already published somewhere, just to show that you've published work before. So just write an essay or something. Just write an essay and send it as a pitch. Write like an op-ed, send it as a pitch to a million different people, and use that as your sample. Don't send it as a pitch. You could send it as a pitch, but first try to use it as your sample and send it to as many contributors, editors possible. Send it to as many places as possible. If you're a conservative, send it to send it to the Washington Examiner, send it to the New York Post, send it to I mean, those might be a little more difficult, but send it to the Federalist, Free Beacon, Daily Caller. They will make you write for free, and that's fine. You have to be okay with writing for free, at least in the beginning, because I don't know. I wrote for free for an entire year. People are always like, wow, Pardes, how do you do this? I want to do what you did. I mean, if you can find a way to do it faster than I did, then you're awesome. You should do that. But I did not start writing and get paid. I did not do that. I didn't suddenly have 1 million followers on Twitter. For an entire year, okay, I was not getting paid to write articles. Okay, I was writing articles, not getting paid, which was fine. It was cool to me that I even had my stuff published and I was starting to have a voice. That was really cool to me. And then I got a Twitter account. And then for a year after that, I was tweeting every single day. No one paid attention to my tweets. I had 0 engagement for an entire year. I had 70 followers. So no, I didn't have over 60,000 followers the whole time. I had for a year, it was 2015. So it doesn't all just happen overnight. For some people it might, but for now, start doing what you gotta do, and don't think that you're gonna make. And the thing is, writing doesn't make a lot of money unless you become Ann Coulter, and if that's what you want to do, then go for it. But don't go in the beginning thinking that you're going to make money, even a tiny bit of money. Don't go into it thinking you're going to do that. And if you do want to make money from writing, go and work for a PR firm. Work in public relations. Become a publicist. Because if you're a writer and you want to make money, that's the place to do it. If you're a writer, you want to write for the public and be famous and be published, then get ready for a long career of being broke and alone and abused and cold and tired and hungry, because that is a writer's life who is not working in PR. Okay. All right, that's it. Joe Anderson is asking if I'm on Anchor tonight. You know, unfortunately, the phone that I was using for Anchor, it's an old phone, so the mic the sound isn't working anymore. So I have to figure out how to fix it. For now, I'm just going to be sharing Joe's audio, because Joe clips the audio from this podcast. He clips it every night. And thank you so much for doing it, by the way. He does it expecting nothing in return. And he's been really helpful with this podcast, with the audio also. And so I'm going to retweet that. He's going to tweet it. And for anyone who missed most of this live stream, who wants to listen to it on audio, you just want to listen to it on your way to, you just want to listen to audio. So you can download it from that site. But unfortunately, right now, we won't have this on Anchor. So if you were listening to the podcast on Anchor, sorry. Someone is asking about Amanda Prestigiacomo. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, even though I've known her for years, and I used to work with her at Daily Wire. Amanda's an awesome person. She's a great person, beautiful inside and out, and drama-free. It's really impossible to have any sort of beef with Amanda or even not like her at all. She's just an amazing person. Very, very easy person to get along with. I like her. Okay. Thank you for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Really, 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 really subscribe to this channel. And also like this video. Subscribe to this channel and like this video. And yes, Amanda is tall. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, say goodbye to Winston Churchill. And if you're on Periscope, click a bunch of hearts on the channel, share this video, and see you tomorrow.